Welcome to the Fit Dad Nation podcast, forging strong fathers and raising a stronger generation. It's time to get up or shut up with your host, Steve Roy.
Hey guys, Steve here, host of the Fit Dad Nation podcast. Welcome to the show. Thanks for listening. So if you're a dad, and if chances are you're a dad, if you're listening to this show, you're struggling with some aspect of your health, your fitness, your wellness. If it's not working what you're doing, and honestly, maybe you're doing nothing, but if you're committed to getting better and you don't know where to turn, you don't know what to do, you're kind of overwhelmed, or you're stuck, or you're frustrated, or you're in a slump, whatever it is, there's so many reasons why you might not be operating at your best. Get some help, right? Obviously there's no shortage of information about fitness online. It's probably the most overdone industry out there, but at the end of the day, you still need help. So find someone that knows what they're talking about, someone that cares about your success, and become part of a group, become part of a community. Find some accountability, find some way to get through what you're going through. And in my opinion, finding the right group is extremely important. So, we have a group. We have actually a couple groups, but our private membership program called the Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle is where we do a lot of stuff, challenges and calls, a lot of stuff to help you as a busy dad. And it's really accountability based, which I think is at the foundation of success for a lot of us that just don't have the support that we need. And honestly, a lot of us don't. We have busy careers, lives, marriages, kids, sports. There's a million things going on. And a lot of times we just get pushed to the end of the list, or we push ourselves to the end of the list. So in my opinion, no better investment that you can make than in your own mental health, physical health, and wellness. So find a way to make it work. Take a look at what we're doing over at the Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle. It's fdnic.com. And of course, if you have any questions about it, you can always email me at steve@fitdadnation.com. So today I want to talk about something that everybody goes through. No, I'm not talking about ED. I'm talking about a weight loss plateau. Anybody that's ever tried to lose weight, or at least a significant amount of weight, has experienced a breakthrough. And now I'm going to be talking about weight loss specifically, not necessarily weight gain, because obviously you can plateau there as well. But, honestly, most of us, the vast majority of guys listening to the show, are trying to shed some weight. And inevitably, no matter what you start, whatever program you start, there's going to come a point where you hit a wall and nothing seems to be happening. And you're like, what the fuck? I'm still killing it. I'm doing all the right things. I'm checking all my boxes. I feel like I'm just absolutely crushing it, yet I've completely stalled out. And that's a very natural thing. It happens. And the main reason is our bodies are extremely intelligent, and they adapt to whatever stimulus we put on them pretty quickly. And that's how we're designed, right? You put us in any environment, we're going to adapt. Even in very harsh environments, we're going to learn to adapt. So, yeah, one of the main things, obviously, is you have to continually push. And, sometimes you don't realize that you're not pushing hard enough and you stall out. But today, I want to talk about some of the most common reasons why you're at a plateau and how to get through it. Because ultimately, you got to keep making progress. If your goal is weight loss, you're not going to continue losing weight forever. It's just not going to, you're not going to do that. So whatever your desired goal is, if you've got 40 pounds to lose and you get stalled out at 20, you need to find a way to get to that last 20 before you end up getting frustrated, which is what usually happens. Someone hits a plateau. They still think they're doing everything right, or they haven't changed anything what they were doing, and they're like, why the fuck isn't this working anymore? I've just been killing it. I've been losing all this weight, and now nothing. And what happens? You get demotivated, psyched out, and you quit or say fuck it and start eating shit again, or whatever it is, and you go right back to where you started. Extremely common. Okay? So first thing I'll tell you is, first off, there's no perfect, there's no right, quote unquote, right program for anybody as in a training program. I believe that any good training program will have strength training at its core, regardless, man, woman, whatever your goals are, weight loss, weight gain. Strength training is the key and should be the foundation for everything. And the reason is because, adding lean muscle is the best thing that you can do for your body. It's the best thing you can do for your metabolism, for burning fat. And ultimately, that's your goal, right? We want to have more lean muscle tissue, especially as we start getting older. I'm almost 50, and we start losing lean muscle tissue slowly over time after a certain age, when our 40s. And so that's really important for a lot of reasons to keep that. No program is going to be the best, whether it's P90X, whether it's 5x5. They all work, and you've heard it said before, everything works, nothing works. I believe that. I believe, for the most part, you can make any program work for a time. So again, I've paid guys $300 a month to write me programs, but again, they're only as good as time permits. So I can't stick with a program for 6 months and expect it to work, right? I have to continually change something in it, right? I can't just, it says I have to do 10 reps of this, 10 reps of this, 4 sets of this. If you stick with that, you could probably make progress for a while, but typically your body's going to hit that point where it's not being stimulated any further. It's already figured out what you're doing to it, and it's going to stop growing. So I typically, suggest changing your programs every 4 to 8 weeks. It depends. Beginners can get away with a longer wait time. If you're just starting out or just getting back into it, 8 weeks or so, 12 weeks maybe. But typically after that, it's good to change up some kind of variable. Meaning your rests, the length of your workouts, the types of your workouts, the intensity, the frequencies, right? Those things are all the variables, and it's important. They all play a role in the program, and I'm not going to break down exactly everything that a good program includes. That's not the nature of this show, but I want to talk about some of the things that make a program, which are how many sets are you doing, how long are your workouts, what exercises are you choosing, how intense are you training, how often are your workouts, right? And so again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. Some people do really well with 1 or 2 sets going super heavy with long rest periods. Some people, depending on your genetics, muscle fiber types, a lot of different things, respond better to shorter rests, a little bit higher reps, right? And then, again, no right or wrong way to do this, but whatever your program is and you need to change it, change some of the variables. Okay, and that's what a good program does. You'll change the program, and typically every 4 to 8 weeks, I'll change something, change the exercises, change the format, keep the body guessing. And this is something that has gotten a lot of press of muscle confusion, and you've probably seen it. It's kind of been debunked that we don't need nearly as much muscle confusion as we once thought, and there's a lot of people that still believe that you need to literally change your workout every time you work out, which is insane. I think there's a lot more to be had from following a set program for a short period of time, at least, to gauge your progress. How do you know if you're getting stronger, you're getting better, if you continually jump from one workout to the next? Because there's no apples to apples comparison. It's, one day you're doing burpees, the next day you're doing pull-ups, and then you're going back and doing whatever, right? There's no way to gauge. But if you have a set program, a strength training program for 8 weeks, then you can see, okay, I started out benching, 185, now I'm at 225, and before I could only do 3 pull-ups, now I can do 8. That kind of thing is quantifiable, and that's what you want. You want to be able to quantify your results when it comes to this. So check the variables on that. Another big one is the calories that you're eating. So as you start losing weight, let's say you started at 220 and now you're at 200, maybe you figured out how many calories you need. And again, you do need to figure out how many calories you need to lose weight. You can't just guess. You need to do some calculations and figure out, okay, I need this many calories to lose weight. And then you need to track it to make sure you're actually eating that many and you're not overeating. Because that's obviously a huge cause. People overeating and don't realize it, and they don't lose weight, and they wonder why. It's because you're just eating too much over the course of time, right? It's all about consistency. And so the number of calories that you needed at 220 pounds is not the same as the number of calories you need at 200 now. You need less, right? Your body is smaller. You need fewer calories. So you have to adjust that as you start losing weight. You can't continue to eat the same, whatever it is, let's call it 2,300 calories a day and expect to keep losing weight. You have to start reducing that. So keep that in mind. That's a big one, okay? Quality of your foods, right? You get stuck, change up the quality of your foods. Maybe you're stuck in, you've been doing well eating, processed chicken patties and foods that aren't necessarily, ideal. Sometimes to jumpstart things, you cut out some of that processed foods or the heavier foods like potatoes and rice, and you go back and you just start eating a bunch of vegetables, whatever it is. But increasing the quality of your foods can help you at least start getting through that plateau. And on those same token, changing your macros. So the macros basically, if you don't know, is just the ratio of fats, proteins, and carbs that you're eating. That's all it is, right? You've heard of, macro counting, macro manipulation, right? Count, if it's your macros, which I fucking hate. I think it's ridiculous to eat that way, but that's my personal opinion. I'm not a fan at all of it. If it's your macros, that's a topic for another show, though. But anyway, sometimes, seriously, all it takes is a manipulation of your macros. So let's say you're eating 30, 30, 30, or whatever, 33, 33, 33, and it's been working great for you, and then you hit this plateau, right? Switch it up, right? A lot of times I found that by just bringing up that fat and protein a little bit and bringing those carbohydrates down a little bit will jumpstart a plateau. And I don't mean by a little bit. I mean like maybe go 40, 40, 20, which means 20% carbohydrate, 40% protein, 40% fat. Something like that is a great way to jumpstart it. If you can drop those carbs a little bit lower, and again, it's really not sustainable long term unless you can handle it. A lot of people cannot handle eating low carb for a long time, and you don't necessarily have to, but I've seen it work many, many times where you can just drop those carbs down, bring that protein and fat up in the short term to get that rolling again as far as your weight loss. And then also you can change your meal timing. Now, years ago, it was 3 square meals a day. Then it was 3 squares and snacks. And then it was eating every couple of hours to stimulate blood sugar and keep it stable and, boost your metabolism, right? Since then, we've found out that doesn't really matter. That's not necessarily true. And now kind of the thought is it doesn't really matter when you eat, right? You could eat one big meal right before bed. As long as you're under your calorie threshold, you'll still continue to lose weight. It's not necessarily going to sit in your stomach and just be stored as fat like we once thought. And, there's no need to eat 6 meals a day, 5 meals a day, whatever. It honestly doesn't really matter. And I believe this too. I've experimented with it. I've tried a bunch of different approaches to eating, my meal timing and intermittent fasting, which, really has a shortened window time of eating, which I'm a big fan of. I'm actually going to do a show here real soon on intermittent fasting. So change your meal timing though. So if you're eating 3 meals a day, give that a change. Like, try fasting, for example. Try to eat only between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., or something even smaller. Again, this is all about challenging your body, right? This is about getting your body to kind of get out of its comfort zone and switch things up, right? This is only, all these things I'm talking about today are simply to break up your plateau and get you moving again. These are not necessarily things you have to stick with forever, but I'm saying when you get stuck, and you will get stuck, you have to switch something. And so sometimes, you skip your breakfast and your first meal of the day is lunch, or maybe your last meal of the day is at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever it is. That might be the trick that gets your body back jump-started. Okay. You can also start incorporating different types of training. So if you're not using some kind of high-intensity conditioning work, then start. I think that's a great way to, and I think it should be part of almost everybody's overall program, is some form of conditioning work, which means some kind of, whether you want to call it HIIT, circuit training, metabolic conditioning, whatever it is, some component of high intensity exercise. And that's a relative term, meaning what's intense for me doesn't necessarily mean it's intense for you. Okay. So you're going to push yourself to what you're capable of, not what I'm capable of. So the intensity level is for you. So if you're really deconditioned, going for a walk up a hill a couple times could be high intensity for you. That's okay. You don't have to be running up and down it with a 30-pound ruck on you. That doesn't necessarily make sense for you. So put some kind of HIIT training or some kind of conditioning training into your program if you're not. And again, a lot of guys won't do that because they hate cardio type exercises. They want to lift heavy shit. They want to go to the gym for a couple hours a day, throw around heavy weights, but they don't want to do any kind of cardio work because it sucks, right? It's hard. So, when guys don't like that. A lot of guys don't like that. So put that in there. If you're stuck, put that in there. It doesn't have to be a lot. 20 minutes, make it intense for you. Be purposeful about the movements that you're doing. Burn those extra calories, get that extra movement in. And I haven't even touched on the other things of, it could be something as simple as your sleep patterns. The reason you could be stuck at a plateau is just your hormones are off, your sleep is fucked up, you're not sleeping enough, or your quality of sleep is lousy. Could be your stress levels. You could be holding on to weight due to hormones, could be stress, could be just even the foods you're eating, could be your digestive issues, right? Taking a look at your digestive, you could have GI problems, you could have backups in there that are causing weight gain or weight retention. To be eating just too many salty foods that are, again, retaining water, retaining fluids, right? Could be simple as cleaning that out, going on a much cleaner type diet and upping your water, right? So there's so many things you can do. I don't know, probably named 8 or 9 of them just now to break through a plateau. And again, what I hope to accomplish with this particular show isn't anything other than to hopefully help you not quit when things get hard, when things look like you're failing, which it will. Absolutely, it's always going to happen. There's always going to come a time where you think, fuck, this isn't working. I'm failing. And if you don't know what to try or don't know what to do, there's a very strong likelihood that you'll just quit. You'll just stop. And you'll go back and say, screw it. I've heard it so many times. It's not working. My body just doesn't want to lose weight. I'm done. And you go right back and revert to the old habits, the old eating habits, and you go right back to where you started. And that's not what I want for you. And I know that's not what you want for yourself. So take what I told you today. Seriously, go through the list. I'll list them out here in the show notes. But go through them all, check them off, and seriously, take a look. I mean, if I tell you to cut your calories for 2 weeks, count your calories and make sure they're cut. Don't just guess. Don't say, well, I'm just eating a little bit less, because one bite of something heavy, like peanut butter, can offset that. One small little thing, and one small handful of chips or whatever can make up for the calories you already cut. So count your calories for a couple weeks at least anyway. And I don't think you need to do it long term, but in the short term, something like that. But go through all the things I talked about today. Look at them. Try as many as you can if you're stuck. Okay. If you need anything, if you have questions, specific questions, you can always reach out to me at steve@fitdadnation.com. And again, check out our group. Got a lot of stuff going on in our private group, Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle, fdnic.com. And I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if you want more information, check out the Fit Dad Basecamp group on Facebook. And don't forget to stop by fitdadnation.com. Until next time, keep kicking ass and taking the next step. You can do this, Dad.